Alas, the biomechanics of the knee continue to get more complex. So we've looked at how the femoral condyles will roll and how in terms of relative position on the tibial plateau, they'll move forwards and back. Now let's think about the law of convexity and concavity of the arthrokinematics of the joint. So, as I've gone over this in other videos, when you have a convex joint sitting in a concave socket, it's sort of like it rolls up the hill and then slides back down the hill. So that's actually what's happening in the knee. Now it might sound to you like I'm saying something different than I said in the previous video, but what we're going to see is that the menisci actually move on the tibial plateau. We'll look at that in the next video, but for now, go ahead and think about this image. So, you imagine now the condyles of the femur and they're resting in their amphitheater meniscal sockets, right? 2 on each side. And as they roll back, they're going to roll up the incline of the menisci. They roll up the incline and simultaneously slide back down forward a little bit. So this means that they roll back in space and then slide forward. Right? They roll back and slide forward. And it's all sort of one motion that's going to create stability, quote unquote stability, but it's going to keep the knee moving in a centered and balanced way. So now we're going to have a roll back and then a glide forward. So let's see if we can image that. Go ahead and image the 4 condyles resting in their meniscal sockets and let them roll back to initiate the leg bend and then slide a little forward. And then they'll do the opposite. They'll actually roll forward up the front edge of the menisci as you're straightening, and they'll slide backwards. So you have a roll backwards and a slide forward, and then a roll forward and a slide back. A roll back and a slide down the back incline, forward in the joint, and then a roll up the front incline and a slide back down. So the slide essentially keeps the femoral condyles centered in their amphitheater horseshoe-shaped homes. That they're going to roll up the wall and it's going to get compressed on one side and slide back down. So you can imagine that compression of the menisci on one side, and then as I straighten the legs, they're going to roll up the other side and slide back down. So here we go again. They roll back and slide or glide forward, and then they roll forward and slide or glide back. They roll back and slide or glide forward, and they roll forward and slide or glide back. Go ahead and compare that to the image of them just rolling stationary in space. So it's if you imagine the center axis point, that axis just sits in the center of the menisci. So bend and straighten the legs with that feeling. And then go to this other image where the condyles roll back on the menisci and glide forward, and then they roll forward and glide back. Roll back and glide forward, roll forward and glide back. Now for me, I feel that when the center of rotation stays in place, my knees actually feel quite sort of wobbly, like I can't quite trust them. Versus when I use this image of them rolling back and then sliding forward, it's like there's this very complex moving contact, which there is of course, between the bone and the menisci, which gives me much more of a feeling of stability and security without any added muscle tone. So experiment with your knees.
If you enjoyed this video, sign up for the InBody Space newsletter and share the link with a friend. You can also find original content on Facebook and Instagram.